All right, what's up, ladies and gents? How are we doing today? Welcome back to another live stream on the YouTube channel. Are we live? I'm live on my side, but I don't know if it's live for you guys. Let me know if you can see me okay and if you can hear me okay. Welcome back, ladies and gents. I love these live streams. I really do. They are way more interesting to me than normal videos. As we are coming in, ladies and gents, let's do me a favor and smash those likes up. I don't know how long we're going to be going for this one. I'm going to try and keep this one a little bit shorter, but you know, we'll see if we get if things go well for this stream. I'll keep it running, but otherwise, I'm going to make this more like a normal kind of video. So as we are tuning in, definitely do me a favor and smash those likes up. We got 100 viewers in here. And let's run it. How we doing? Shout out to Zindagi Photo, Productions, JP Kovac, Nubian King, Alex Max. How we doing today, ladies and gents? Welcome. Dip to the moon. Hi from a sunny Scotland, Stuart Richardson. Welcome, mate. Welcome. Let's take a look at the price. So, if we look at the price of Bitcoin here, we managed to pump right through that $66,000 zone of resistance. We were originally struggling there for a minute when I was streaming with you guys last time, just a couple of days ago. And actually, most of us thought that Bitcoin would reach 67 on that day, but we didn't quite do that. In fact, if we take a look at this on the hourly time frame, we saw one small pullback followed by a second larger pullback, and then bam, it was right up to that resistance level on the third attempt there, which is absolutely great. That is a very, very cool thing to be seeing in the market, because since then we've been able to get above the zone of resistance. I do have a dog, so yeah, I don't actually have the camera tilted low enough for you to see him, but and I keep saying I would, but I haven't, so my bad. But maybe if we hit enough likes, I'll show you guys the dog. As you are coming in today, ladies and gents, do me a favor and smash those likes up. Been watching eagerly since the last bull run. Learned so much. It's insane. Amazing, mate. That is so, so cool. Yes, I will be outlining the kind of trades I'm looking at in this live stream today, including in the altcoin market. So that's definitely quite exciting for me. I want to tell you guys about the kind of positions that I'm looking at. So what's up from Toronto? How we doing? Welcome. Bill Brower. Pack Cap, you have to buy a shitcoin for that dog like Doggy Coin. You know, I've had my friend's Shiba dog in my Twitter profile picture for such a long time. Everybody thinks that I have a Shiba dog because of this. But nah, it's just a dog that I fell in love with the first day I met him. Absolute legend of a dog. But yeah, let's come back here, because we ended up getting up to that crucial 67k zone. And if we really kind of look at what this 67k zone represents, I showed it to you with this really nice red box in the previous live stream. And what this red box means is this is like the bottom of the box is where resistance opens up, top of the box is where resistance closes up, the middle of the box is the heaviest part of the resistance. So it's no surprise that it's right here where we've been encountering problems. Right here is where we've stopped trending up. Right below the yellow line is where we got a bit of a rejection. No surprises here whatsoever. This is exactly what we would expect. But as we continue to push deeper into this box, we're going to start to see that resistance closing off. I know this might sound a little bit like woozy right now, but I'll show you what I mean with an actual tool, which shows you the same thing, which is that resistance picks up over here and it tapers off over here, right? You don't have such a big spike here, and this just represents like volume being traded, and naturally, so like the magnetic zones on the market. So if we leave this one, then you know, we're probably going to have a pretty easy rise up to the next one, right? And so you know, I think we're from that perspective pretty much done with this particular zone of resistance. And if we do look at this from a different chart about where this could go, the next zone of resistance that I have on this chart is going to be up at about the $70,000 price range. But this is all to say that it should be a pretty easy ride now for Bitcoin to get up to that next zone of resistance if we're able to clear the current zone that we are in right now. So that is definitely very exciting, and it's also a very promising sign. However, it is worth noting, and I've been saying this a lot lately, I said this down at the lows twice when we were down here, resistance is where rejections happen and support is where bounces happen. And so even though we're looking pretty good, and even though we've actually done fairly well at this resistance level, it is still a resistance level. And what I want to see are things like the Fear and Greed Index, which has already picked up to quite high greedy levels again. We're going to see this update again in about 7 hours, and I don't know where the price is going to be in 7 hours, but if it's anywhere around here, we're probably going to have a reading that's closer to 80 and above. And if we're looking at that on this Fear and Greed Index, then we're certainly going to be very bullish, and we're going to be seeing all of that bullish energy coming in right at a macro market top again. Okay, so, these are not the kind of things that I start celebrating. What is it, Ghosty? What do we want, sir? These are not the kind of things that I'm interested in, rallying behind while everybody else is, losing their minds, being bullish while the market's at a macro zone of resistance. I am actually most interested in, staying grounded and understanding the basics. Resistance is where rejections happen. Support is where bounces happen. Okay, so Fear and Greed Index, very useful here. And of course, if we take a look at Twitter, just to get a very rough, and this is like super rough and subjective kind of view of sentiment, if we start seeing like bullish profit statements and stuff like that being thrown about, my Twitter feed is a little bit different to what are you doing, Ghost? Hey, come here. Down. If we take a look at what a normal Twitter feed would look like right now, we're probably going to start to see a lot of celebrations. I think meme coins have been pretty hot recently. You really want to be in the live stream today, don't you, sir? I think meme coins have been popping off a lot lately as well. Let's take a look at Pepe, because this was one that I was looking at as well. We'll come back to the Bitcoin analysis in just a sec. If you are enjoying the live stream so far, ladies and gents, do me a favor and smash those likes up in this stream. See what we got on the live chat here. Saludos from Mexico. Welcome from Mexico. Here to make money, not hold hands. You get it, Brian. That is exactly it. Will I be talking about Ethereum? Yes, sir. I most definitely will be talking about Ethereum. Sammy on the money as always. Thank you very much, Jimmy. I finally realized that you're right. Well, better late than never, Tone. Better late than never. Sammy OTA is rock solid, bro. Any concerns with the pump on low volume? No, I'm not concerned about low volume. Volume to me stopped being an important metric a long time ago. And now I'm just not really bothered by that kind of thing. The reason it stopped being an important metric is because it's a lot of different factors. I think the first few that really jump to mind is manipulation, but also OTC trading. There's a lot of trading that happens off, retail exchanges these days, right? So I don't really use it to validate, and I just don't think that the data integrity is there. You need to stop fucking around with my cables. So, Ghost, down. Nay, down. Laney, stay. Thank you. I don't want him to like mess around with my cables while I'm looking at my camera. But yeah, I think there's been a lot of meme coin mania and stuff like that, and that's definitely something I want to be taking a look at in this live stream a little bit as well. We will get there. Let's take a look at my heart. Just won't let me put money into the memes. Honestly, neither, mate. I'm not really that kind of guy either. It's not something that's interesting to me. Okay, you're gonna have to be ejected from the room with this behavior. Nay, Ghost, Lenny. Sorry, guys. I think he is like excited by ghosts or something. Like the, I don't know, the shadows, whatever. Dogs know when you're not paying attention to them. He's actually pretty chill usually. He's been on almost all of my live streams, but today he's just really interested in my cables. I might just remove him from the room because I don't want to deal with this. We'll see. I'll give him another couple of minutes to settle down. But yeah, we have seen that rise up into this resistance zone. I think that if this does turn into a rejection, one of the nicest things that we have going for us in this market now are some really, really good levels of support a little bit lower. Someone's just mentioned they've just tuned in. What did I miss, mate? This live stream is very new. Please just rewind it. You can watch it on 2x speed and you're going to be able to catch up very quickly. The beautiful thing that we've got on this chart now is a very nice setup here where we've got a lot of support below us if we do start to drop. Okay, so we've got this support right here at $66,000. We've also got our support here at $63,000. And one of the best things I can do on this chart right now, which actually really excites me, is throw Fibonacci on here. And this assumes that the top we've set is indeed the top. And, you know, I think it's still too early to say that because we're still so close to that high. By the way, I mean, I just want to put this in perspective. We're only about $500 away. So we're still very, very close to that high. But if this is the high that the market sticks to, then we've actually managed to produce some really, really nice zones of support. Good boy. We've actually managed to produce some really, really nice zones of support here on the Fibonacci with this 382 retracement right here and 618 golden pocket down here, and both of them lining up with phenomenal zones that we've been eyeing for a long time on this YouTube channel now. So if you've been subscribed, you're going to be very familiar with this particular zone on the chart and the importance that it carries for me in particular. You know, we've been talking about this quite a bit. So 63K, in my opinion, the more important level. I wouldn't really want to see Bitcoin coming down here. But if we do manage to form a correction down to this particular price level, you know, that does produce a 6% drop roughly. Honestly, maybe even a little bit more. I'll tolerate a bigger drop down to like 6-7%. And the reason I really like that is if you look at the previous correction, which came from this high at 65.5 down to this low at 60,000, this was an 8% drop, right? And so we're actually kind of matching the drop that we had before, and that means that we're kind of in line with what we you know, with what we might expect for corrections. Okay, you're getting ejected from the room, so sorry guys. Let me take the dog out. Ghost, come here. Yeah, someone mentioned I need to have chew toys in the room, but I didn't really plan it, you know, like I just ran upstairs to live stream and Ghost was like, okay, I'm coming, you know, but yeah, he was just messing around a bit too much. I'm not going to babysit him during the stream. Be careful for flies. My dog ran under my desk and pulled the entire setup of my desk. Dude, that's scary. Yeah, that hasn't happened to me. I'm sure I'll get my turn eventually. Let's see what else we got in this in the live chat here. Short or long, 100K incoming. Seriously though, why do Democrats hate Bitcoin? I'm not going to comment on the Democrats. Am I taking profits at this resistance? No, not me. I mean, I think it's a very, very good level to take profits at, but personally, I'm not yet. Maybe I can make a video with a 10 coins portfolio good for us that we want to invest. Mate, I hate all coins that are not Bitcoin, like every single one of them. I hate them all, apart from Ethereum. So yeah, I'm not interested in that. Sammy, be our guest speaker at the Toronto Bitcoin Club. Thank you for the offer. When is the event in Toronto? I'm actually planning a trip to Toronto. So that might be something I can do. 65 to 63K short before another pump. Stefan, I really like that approach. You know, I'm not saying that that's a guarantee at all, but if it does start to happen, I mean, just look at the support that we've got down in this zone, not only with the beautiful Fibonacci level at 382, but just trace this red line back. This is where Bitcoin originally topped out when we were setting that brand new all-time high, and this is where we've come back down for really nice support, resistance, and consolidation since we entered this price range, and that was, you know, up until the last time that we interacted with this level, a 77-day period. Okay, so a very, very long time that this level has held weight in the market, and so it would make so much sense if we do come back down to retest it, and I think it would be a very interesting zone to start looking at some buys in the market as well. Now, there's also some indicators that show similar things, right? The hourly Ichimoku cloud after a couple of hours is probably going to be up at about 66. The low end is at about the high 63s. And if we look at this on the 4-hour time frame, the Ichimoku cloud is very, very nicely placed inside of that 63K support zone right here. So I think that's actually very interesting, you know, to potentially indicate that there could be some really nice upside for Bitcoin if it manages to get that bounce off this particular price level. We're nearly up to 400 viewers, ladies and gents. If we can smash those likes up, that would be amazing, because I would love to see, you know, more of our subscribers tune into this stream. Like I said, I'm looking at making this one a little bit of a shorter one. That's why I'm being a bit faster with my analysis as well. But I'm happy to stay you know, if things are going well. Let's see what else we've got here in the live chat before I continue on. And we are starting to see Bitcoin dip just a little bit right now during this stream. Can I explain the Ichimoku? No, not in this video, but type this into the YouTube search bar. I'm actually going to be remaking this video very soon, so watch out for that. If you don't, this video was made when I don't even think my voice cracked at this time, so you know, you might not want to watch it, but I am going to remake the video very soon, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. But in short, because you asked, the bigger the cloud, the bigger the support typically. The bottom line, top line, usually the most important. This is the 1 minute time frame, so it's useless. But you know, 1 hour, 4 hour, 1 day, these are the kind of time frames I like to use it on. So we're just watching this retracement here. We've topped out at $67,500 and now trading down at 66.9, which is a very nice small retracement so far. There is good reason to believe that this particular zone here could start behaving as support for Bitcoin. So that's about mid 66 range. You know, it definitely makes sense for some very short-term support for Bitcoin here. So that's something that I think I want to be keeping an eye out for during this live stream with you all if we do end up coming down that low. Not necessarily something that I would be buying, but you know, it is a very short-term zone, so super short-term traders might be interested in that. Crash coming up, Sammy brother, due to recent inflation in the US. Yeah, definitely. You know, it could happen. I think there's big split opinions on that at the moment, though. But the latest data was quite, I think, bullish for people, wasn't it? And I think that's why we saw this move even start in the first place. One time, my black cat walked across my camera during a Zoom interview. The interviewer loved him, and I got the job. That is amazing, Michael. Yeah, that's. I mean, I think that's. You know, that conveys a lot, right? I mean, you know, if you've got a pet. You know, everyone loves that, really. Who doesn't? It'd be weird if someone didn't like it. Let's see what else we got here in the live chat. $3.99. I'm actually watching on my phone and computer. Thank you very much, Pat Cap, for you're sending 2 views in for us. I appreciate that, dude. When do I expect to see the cycle top? I don't know, man. I think it's actually damn near impossible to predict a cycle top and when it's going to happen, because you're just plucking things out of thin air, quite frankly. I will say that the last 2 cycle tops happened in winter of their respective years, 2021 and 2017. So, and that was 4 years apart. So maybe 2025 winter. I don't know. That would actually make a lot of sense to me. Like mentally, that's where I have it. Like that's where I have it placed out in my head mentally. Is fall of 2025 is when we hit the cycle top. Obviously, GTA 6 releases in fall. GTA 6 got delayed, ladies and gents. I don't know if you haven't heard the news. I was really upset. The news came out yesterday, but GTA 6 got delayed until fall 25. So fuck it. Maybe we just get a bull market until GTA 6 comes out, and then we can just start playing the game. And you guys, I'm telling you guys right now. I mean, you know, you can write this down. It's May 17, 2024. As soon as GTA 6 comes out, you guys aren't seeing me anymore. I'm gonna be out. I'm gonna be done with this shit. I'm out. I'm retiring. GTA 6 comes out. I'm retiring. That's it. I might even stream it. It's been a while since I've done gaming content on this channel. Do I think that the next dip might be the last before blasting up through 67k? Alex, if we get another dip, I do think it would be the last one before we blast through 67. And the reason I think it would be the last one is because we've already had so much corrective price action in this market, right? If we zoom out and take a look at this on the 4 hour, for example, we have already had a, you know, basically nearly 3 month time period now. Let me actually count this properly. Since we entered this zone, it's been 79 days. So yeah, basically, you know, nearly 3 months here that we've been trading sideways. You know, and in that time, we've had a deviation to the upside and a deviation to the downside. And if we do end up kind of performing a nice dip here, and more importantly, getting that subsequent recovery, if we get this recovery, I'm going to be like, all right, you know, that's it. Like, it's new all-time high season, you know? And the other thing that would allow for is obviously, you know, I think, and I've been saying this a lot, I actually think that a big part of this price action has been, you know, the S&P 500 performing incredibly well. And obviously, everybody and their grandmother wants to see these gaps filled by the S&P 500. And by the way, there's a hell of a lot more down here, and there's probably many more further down. So, this gets a little bit silly if you keep on looking at it. But this zone was previously the all-time high resistance for the S&P 500. And if we do end up kind of falling back down here, that would definitely pave the way for Bitcoin to come down toward the $63,000 range. And then if the S&P 500 is going to continue up on the staircase to heaven, which I think is overwhelmingly likely, it doesn't mean that we can't drop down. But, now that it's set a brand new all-time high, it's basically back to, regularly scheduled programming, basically. If that's the case, then I think that, Bitcoin would have a really nice kind of path down to rise, to fall down here. And then, of course, to get that subsequent rise back up. So that's something I'd definitely be watching. I agree 100% on that last dip, and it would be a wick. I don't even think it would be a dip, a big one, but come right back with having the time. But that was a hard comment to read. I'm sorry, dude. But yeah, I agree with you. I think I understood your point. 618 Fib retracement from 66.8 following the pump from 61K is so perfect. There are a lot of very, very interesting fibs here, and I think that's definitely interesting. It's in fact one of the things I wanted to discuss with you guys. By the way, look at that. We are now well on our way to fulfill this potential breakout target, where if we measure the height of this descending triangle, that does give us a potential speculative target up here of about $76,000. This is something that we covered in a recent video on this YouTube channel. So again, those of you that were subscribed are going to know all about that. That has definitely played out very nicely for Bitcoin. So we've been seeing lots of interesting stuff. I want to cover with you some of the interesting trade setups I'm seeing, but if you're curious about trading them on the places that I'm trading them, then you can get huge cash bonuses. Bybit is giving you up to $30,000 in completely free trading capital, and any profits that you generate with that money are going to be yours to keep, meaning you can withdraw that money too. And BingX doesn't require KYC, so that means no pictures of yourself or your ID. They are introducing KYC, but only in a few countries, and they will give you up to $135,000 in bonuses. So that is super, super cool. Definitely check those out. If you are interested, you get your bonuses by depositing and starting to trade using my links below. Let's come back to the chart here, though, because I do want to talk to you about what some of those setups are, and then, of course, we will come back to the Bitcoin analysis as well. I'm going to start off with Matic just because it's at the top of my list. No particular reason for it being at the top of my list, but it is, and it is rising back up to this 74-cent zone of resistance that I've got drawn out on this chart here. It's not a particularly clean zone, but I think that if we do end up getting the breakout, then there is going to be a really nice bit of upside for Matic to enjoy, and really this is just the midpoint. I think more likely it'd be able to get up to the main zone of resistance, which is a 25% pump away. So that's actually what I'd be looking at, more than this yellow line. I'm actually going to go ahead and remove it. I mean, it's a good yellow line, but yeah, I'm going to remove it. I don't really want it on my chart, and instead I'll just extend this green box out a little bit. But I do think that this bigger box is going to be the real zone of resistance for Matic. Of course, I think these charts are only worth looking at insofar as you look at the Bitcoin chart, because they're not useful if you're losing Bitcoin. And this has been just an abysmal performance here. I mean, actually, from this perspective here, there's like minuscule support and then another big drop here for Matic. So this is a fucking disastrous chart, absolute tragedy of a chart from this particular perspective. Let's look at this on the logarithmic, and long way to drop, isn't it, until the next major zone of resistance. And it's already dropped a very long way, actually. I mean, this was the kind of zone of support that that Matic had, and it just started to get really shit, and you got that kiss of death back here in January of this year, and since then it's already down by half against Bitcoin. Just absolute disaster. And we're probably seeing similar things for other altcoins here. Let's take a quick look at Cardano, though, against the dollar, and Cardano has had its relative breakout over here. Its breakout that looks something a little bit like this, which is fantastic. It's now having its time to shine, encountering a little bit of resistance here because of some of this price action, but I don't think this should be particularly challenging for Cardano considering the resistance that it has overcome. So I'd be expecting it to rise up to its next zone about at about 57-58 cents over here. And if we take a look at where it could go, that is like another 18% up. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. This is not a particularly great chart to be analyzing, but it is something which I think is it's just worth paying a little bit of attention to. Cardano against BTC. trading sideways here. Let's take a look at this on a longer term time frame, and this is also a pretty bad chart. You know, the thing about the Matic chart is the Matic chart looks hopeless, right? The Matic chart just looks like it's got no chance. But this Cardano chart, at least you can start to say that, well, you know, yes, it doesn't look great, but this is a potential zone of resistance, right? And so it could be a potential bottom. And if you're bullish on Cardano, then you have some technical basis for buying it and expecting Cardano to perform well. And ultimately, we don't really care how these coins do against the dollar. It's much more important what they do against Bitcoin, because if we're all in agreement that, you know, crypto is going to have a bull market, then naturally Bitcoin will go up. But there's no point taking additional risk if you're going to make less money, or if you're not going to make much more money, right? Like if you're going to take 5 times more risk, but you're only going to make 20% more money, those numbers just don't check out. You know, the numbers don't make sense. You know, but if you're going to take a little bit more risk and you're going to make a lot more money, then it starts to become a much more interesting discussion, right? And I think that's what you know, is particularly interesting. And so, you know, I think Cardano, from this particular perspective, you know, you do have some argument to make, at least something, you know, to justify Cardano gaining something against Bitcoin here. And I think the other thing is that even if you don't expect Cardano to, you know, recover back up to all-time highs against Bitcoin, and just to get up to its next zone of resistance is still a nice little kind of 20% pump here. So that is still worth something. This is the weekly time frame, of course, so it could take a very long time to get there. But, you know, an extra 20% on Bitcoin is pretty cool. I'm not saying we're going to do it. This looks like a chart that's ready to roll over, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have one more bounce left in it. You know, it's just not a bet that I would necessarily want to take. I think that's what I'm getting at. Solana has done incredibly well. Solana's moved up really nicely, and I think Solana against Bitcoin is one of the only charts here that actually doesn't look horrible. It still doesn't look good to me, and I'll show you why in just a second. But it does have a really nice kind of uptrend that it's established since June of 2023 here, and it is now trading at resistance. And this is kind of the reason that it's not amazing to me. You know, it's going to be amazing to me if we get above resistance, but if we're not above resistance, then, you know, as far as I'm concerned, resistance is where rejections happen. And that's what I've been saying for a really long time on this YouTube channel, right? That's, you know, what I always try and ground myself with and understand as a bottom line is that, you know, when you have a resistance level, that's where you would expect rejections to come in. And if you don't, then good luck to you. You're being, you know, irresponsible with your finances, you know, if you're not able to face those kind of realities in these markets, right? So I think that's important and worth taking into account. Yeah. It's got a nice bit of upside though if it does get above this zone. I think, you know, the first key little bit of resistance would be about 12% away, but the next main resistance would probably be about 30-40% away, and that would be a big rise up for Solana here. Solana against the dollar is at big resistance. This is definitely crucial resistance in my opinion for Solana against the dollar. You know, this is previously a floor that Solana set, and Solana held this floor for about 30 days, and now we're kind of battling it as resistance. So you know, and this is quite an ugly candle. I mean, we've got about 2.5 hours left on this candle, a little bit more than that. So it's not over yet, but it's definitely not a good candle here from the 4-hour perspective. I think that this does potentially indicate some more downside, actually. You know, there's some nice little bits of support here. I'm actually going to remove this box, though. I don't like that particular zone of support, but maybe dropping down to about the 155 area from current price. That is about an 8% drop here. It's actually kind of decent just looking at this here. Let me take a look at this wrist. It's okay. It's a 1.85. I'm not sold on that, but you know, it's not horrible either. But yeah, maybe something that's worth looking at. Let me see a couple of the notes that I have here, if I've shared any of them. I've mentioned to you that there might be some super short-term traders interested in going long over here. This is what that kind of long setup might look like for me. I'm not saying I'd take it, but just pointing this out, this is probably something that I'd keep an eye out for. Honestly, there's way more upside potential here, though. I mean, 69.3 is too early to say that, you know, you would close this trade. I think you'd probably keep it open until 70, 71, you know, something like that. So there's probably a little bit more upside there. You know, same thing on the S&P 500 here illustrated in terms of getting that potential pump from the old zone of resistance, the old previous kind of all-time high. And yeah, another interesting point is that we are about to set a new 35-day high. So it has been quite some time for Bitcoin since we've been up this high, right? We've actually cleared the wicks. So yeah, it has been about 34 days now since we've traded up at this price level. And that, just goes to show that we have, hit some levels that we haven't really seen for quite some time there. So that's also an interesting thing to put some of this analysis into perspective. I want to talk to you a little bit more about the upside for Bitcoin and the downside if things do end up getting really bad. And then I'm probably going to call it a stream. If we have any final questions, then please drop them now and I will go through them in the live chat. 10,000 likes, one lucky long-time legend gets the Sammy Loyal hoodie. That is very, very cool. I did enter at 64.5 after the pump. You think the price will ever go this low again? My stop loss is at entry after this new high. Leroy, sorry guys, ever is a really big word. And if we're talking about ever go down that low, then pretty much, yeah, like damn near 100%. I'm sure we'll get down eventually. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we got down there soon. I'm not saying that it's definitely going to happen because I don't fucking know, but it would make a whole lot of sense if Bitcoin did end up going down there because it's a really nice zone for resistance, right? I mean, you guys are looking at this chart on like a 1 hour perspective of like, well, we've already had a pullback, but you got to step back for a sec, ladies and gents, and look at this chart from a more, realistic point of view. Let's look at it here on the daily time frame. I mean, on the daily time frame here, it's been, one leg up. Oh my God, that was disgusting. It's been one leg up here, a second leg down, and then a third leg up, so a larger correction very much would make sense, coming down to a level like here, and then we continue up. I mean, it would make so much sense here, in this market. So it's not something that I would rule out at all. And that's why I really like that, idea of a $63,000 retracement, right? I mean, that definitely doesn't mean it's going to happen. And it sure as hell doesn't matter if I want it to happen or not. That's not going to have any influence on if it actually does happen. But at the same time, that 63K level is definitely pretty clean and very much open for business as it stands right now because of where those fib levels stand. So that's something which I'm actually really liking the look of in this market here. Let's take a quick look at Ethereum here. We've managed to get that same pump up above its resistance zone. It's just got a messy chart, honestly. That's why there's not a whole lot to say. I think Ethereum's kind of going to be at the whim of Bitcoin here, but Ethereum has a hell of a lot more upside than Bitcoin does right now. I mean, Ethereum to its all-time high, still has another 56% to go. Bitcoin, for reference, to its all-time high has another 10% to go, right? 11%. So Ethereum way more interesting in terms of upside potential if you believe that the market will continue to rise up. So that's definitely interesting. But Ethereum against Bitcoin, again, another absolutely god-awful chart here. And I still fully expect that this will continue to drop. I've been saying it for a very long time, and I have been continuously proven right. This is actually one of my best trades here. My best trading environments ever is trading Ethereum against Bitcoin. Funnily enough, it's the first trade I ever made in crypto, and I actually did horribly, but now it's one of my best. And yeah, I still think it's going to come down. I mean, there's good reasons to expect it to start reversing, but there's always good reasons. I don't believe them. I think there's still a hell of a lot more downside to go here for Ethereum against Bitcoin. So I'm not interested. It's still all eyes on Bitcoin as far as I'm concerned here. Now, if we do end up kind of pumping above this zone, like I said, there's a little bit of resistance up ahead, but I don't think that anything is particularly crazy. I don't think that anything is particularly scary for Bitcoin, and I definitely think that the two most important zones of resistance for Bitcoin on this chart were the 63,000 and 67,000 zones. And so if we are able to get above the 67,000 zone with any conviction, which means perhaps with a daily close, or perhaps with more volume or whatever, volume, not really, but there are other things that might validate it, like just getting above it by a couple more percentage points, stuff like that. I think that could really mean that Bitcoin has clearly surpassed this zone of resistance, and if that's what we're looking at, then yeah, I just can't see that the other zones of resistance up ahead are going to be particularly challenging for Bitcoin, which means that I'm seeing a brand new all-time high. You know, maybe some consolidation, maybe a little bit of pullback, maybe we get up and then come back down. But in either case, in any case, I think if we do get above this level with conviction, we are setting brand new all-time highs. And I think it would make sense because of the S&P 500. So that's something that I'll be keeping an eye out for as well. For the downside, because I know that's still an interesting discussion, for me, the invalidation zone is going to be the $60,000 area, just like I showed you on this Fibonacci back here on this chart, was it? I think it was on this chart I was showing you the Fibonacci retracement. You know, if we take a look at this Fibonacci, it was on the previous chart, but anyway, it doesn't matter. If we look at the Fibonacci here, for example, and it is only an example, but you know, we've got that beautiful 618 price level here. You know, in this zone, I think anything below this, just like literally a fraction below that 60K level, I'm just not interested in this market anymore for longs, and I would actually expect that yeah, we're probably going to be tumbling back down to the low 50s, and I still think that's very much possible. I wouldn't rule it out. We've done incredibly well, you know, don't get me wrong, but again, you know, and I'm the only motherfucker saying this, but you know, that's why, you know, it's valid. Resistance is indeed where rejections happen, so that's something that I'm definitely interested in paying attention to in this market. I got a couple of requests for render. I'm going to take one or two more requests. Ideally, general market analysis, not specific altcoins, because I don't like doing that. And then I will be closing this stream off. So thank you all for joining in. Those of you that have, if you have enjoyed this one, definitely make sure that you hit the like button up, subscribe if you're new to the YouTube channel, and also take advantage of your beautiful offers available with the links in the description. Let's go ahead and take a look at render here. On the daily time frame. Yeah, it looks like it's got a really nice floor right here, like exactly here. We're on the hourly time frame. Yeah, this is a very important floor. It's a pretty shit chart though, but it looks like Bitcoin. It looks like Bitcoin here. Let me show you. This right here. This looks like Bitcoin. Right? So Bitcoin had this move. Render didn't have it. But then we subsequently punched in this low. And then, you know, we got the second low, right? So Render's kind of done it the same way, but opposite. The first one was lower. The second one was a bit higher. And then Bitcoin went to fly, right? So then, you know, something a bit like this and Render goes to fly. So I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, obviously, but it certainly looks like Render's got a strong chart here from that particular perspective. Let's go out onto the 4 hour, and if it does end up moving up, I'd see resistance about, it's like, it's not a great chart, is it? It's a chart, but yeah, I mean, like maybe like $10.92, but let's go ahead and throw a fixed range volume profile on here instead. We're on the hourly again, and I just want to see what this looks like from here onwards. Yeah, let's see what that looks like here. Wait for that to load up. It's not loading for some reason. What am I doing wrong? No volume data. Right. Let's go on Coinbase then, I guess. Which one am I doing? Am I looking at the wrong coin here? I don't know. This looks right. Fuck it, we'll run with this. From here to the present day, point of control right here at $11. Spike starts coming in at $10.90, which is what I showed you guys. Yeah, that would definitely be the next zone of resistance, wouldn't it? So basically $10.90 up to about $11.10 is what I'd be looking at for the next crucial zone of resistance for this chart. And what I'm curious about actually is Render against Bitcoin. Because if this chart looks good, then I'm pretty interested. I mean, I probably still wouldn't. Actually, this chart looks really good because we haven't bounced off this level yet. Oh wait, we had a chance and we haven't taken it. It's not that good. But, you know, as long as render doesn't like slip below this low, which it's pretty close to. Yeah, it's only 2% away. As long as it doesn't get above, as long as it doesn't, I can't speak. As long as it doesn't get below this low at 1500 Satoshis, it's in a pretty good place, right? Because this was clearly a big bounce zone for render before it triggered a 35% move to the upside on Bitcoin. And this was within how long? A day. That's crazy fast. It happened before over here, and that was 20 hours to move up by 18%. I actually really like this. Yeah, I think that probably a spot buy, and I would only hold it insofar as it holds this price level here. So if it drops below here, like super, super tight, I'm out. Otherwise, like, yeah, I'd probably be targeting like 1800 Satoshis. That's quite crazy. That's a really good setup. I'm not saying that's going to happen. It's still not great to me, you know, Bitcoin's at macro resistance, but you know, I would be surprised if it falls right through this resistance without any bounce, you know, like even a small bounce. I'd want to see that. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, something even bigger potentially likely. But I think if you get a bigger move on render here against Bitcoin and against the dollar, that's not going to be because of this level. It's going to be because the market is generally in a much more bullish position, and you don't really know that until you start breaking resistance, right? Again, I'm always the guy that's like, look, I know we've moved up a lot, right? From 60K up to 67, we have moved up by $7,000, and that's great. But at the same time, we're not above the resistance level yet. So any celebrations are premature, and statistically, you know, the market is not on your side, you know, if you're getting excited now. So that's what I'd say about all of this. But super tight stop, you know, is very good protection. I mean, like 2%, what do you have to lose? Like it's pretty clean from that perspective. And it would probably resolve pretty quickly too. You know, you'd probably have an answer within like 2 hours. So that's definitely interesting as well from that perspective. It is available on Bybit, which is interesting. Let me see if it's available on Bybit against Bitcoin here. Actually, it doesn't matter because if it's available spot, yeah, it's available spot on Bybit. And what's really cool about Bybit is you can buy these coins for free. You don't even have to pay a trading fee. So that is super, super cool. I believe gold did a similar pattern. Let's take a look at gold, see where that pattern is. I think this is what you're talking about here, right? Like on the shorter term chart. I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but yeah, that would be definitely quite interesting. Can I explain why I look at the ETH BTC charts? Well, yeah, I mean, I've already said this in the stream, so please just rewind it if you haven't, you know, watched the whole stream, to anybody who hasn't seen it from the beginning. But, you know, the main reason is because Bitcoin is the most important asset in the market, and if any coin is underperforming against Bitcoin, then it's not worth holding, you know. But if a coin looks like it actually has more potential than Bitcoin to go up, in other words, if the Ethereum Bitcoin chart is bullish, you know, then it's very interesting, because ultimately, you know, Bitcoin is the safest asset in this market. And if Bitcoin is making you money and other coins are not making you money as much, or more importantly, if you take 5 times more risk on a coin, but you only get 20% more upside, it's not really worth it, right? You need to get paid for the extra risk, and the Bitcoin charts are a way of visualizing that extra risk. That's basically it. That's the answer to your question very directly. But ladies and gents, I'm probably going to call it there. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We've been live for 45 minutes, which is absolutely great. It's been a good live stream. Relatively short one. I will come back to you guys again when there are further developments in the market. I've got a lot of very interesting content coming at you guys as well, so definitely stay tuned for that, and make sure you are subscribed. Some really cool stuff I've got planned for you all, including a couple of remakes of the classics that you guys have loved on this channel. I feel like Activision for saying that, but there you go. If you have enjoyed this one, you know exactly what to do. Hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, and of course you've got some beautiful offers. So if you are interested in free trading capital that you can deploy into the market and make withdrawals with your profits, you can get them by depositing and starting to trade using my links in the description below. If you want to gain access to my 1-to-1 12-week program, reach out following this link on screen, and I will give you more information on that as well. Thank you all very much for joining, and I will see you all in the next one. Cheers.